Mic check. 1, 2. Are we recording? Hi, I'm Michelle Bernstein, an award-winning chef, restaurateur, and mom. I have a lot on my plate, including my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. That's why I was prescribed Cosentyx. It helps me move better.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for people 2 years of age and older with active psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world seems...
You know, folks, when I don't feature one of my recipes on the show, people actually complain. I come from both Italian and Hungarian descent. I'm half Hungarian, half Italian. Italian, as I say, from the waist down. And I miss the old 21 Club. The 21 Club was a legendary restaurant on the 52nd Street in New York, no longer there. But they had a club burger, a hamburger that I still dream about at night. You basically take a mixture of ground beef. I usually go 80% chuck, 20% sirloin, some breadcrumbs, some celery, some compound butter with a little fresh basil, thyme, parsley, salt and pepper. And then, of course, later you're going to need the toppings, the lettuce, the tomato, the cheese, the pickles, the onions, ketchup if you prefer. You form these into patties. You cook them on a medium-hot charcoal fire or a gas grill or a large cast-iron skillet using canola oil. Cook for your desired doneness, about 12 minutes total for medium rare. Then you assemble your burger with a toasted bun, lettuce, tomato, cheese, pickles, onions, as I say. And then it features this butter, which you can actually freeze and insert in the middle of the ground beef patty if you wish. Kind of adds an extra layer of flavor and juiciness to the burger. So there you have it, the 21 Club burger. It is the best burger you will ever have. A guy I enjoy eating with, a true friend, Mike Crispi, who currently hosts Mike Crispi Unafraid, one of the most popular daily live streaming shows on Rumble.com. He's also national correspondent for LFA TV. Was a delegate to the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, a leader of President Donald Trump's campaign in the Garden State, but also near and dear to my heart. He is one of the founders of the Italian-American Civil Rights League, the largest Italian-American nonprofit advocacy group in the nation, fighting to protect our legacy, our heritage, and the many great things that Italian-Americans have done for this country. Mike Crispi, thank you for joining us today on The Roger Stone Show.
Always a pleasure, Roger. And that was some recipe. I wish I was around for the 21 burger. Someone's going to have to bring that back. That sounds amazing.
It was the place to see and be seen. Richard Nixon had his own table, and Mickey Mantle had his own table, and Roy Cohn had his own table, and it was the place to be and to be seen. Andy Warhol took a picture of me there once when I was much younger. It was an amazing place. In any event, I want to talk politics, of course. The Newark Star-Ledger, which is probably one of the worst newspapers in America, they love incumbents regardless of party. Their editorial page, could be a substitute for sleeping pills because they never want to take any definitive positions that aren't completely establishment. But they had a piece on you recently that I have to admit kind of read to me like a hit job. You seem to have upset a bunch of people in New Jersey simply because you're a conservative and a supporter of the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln, Donald J. Trump. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I mean, this is a line I think that comes from you, that even if they write a hit piece, as long as they use a good picture on the cover of the paper, that's what matters most, right? So it was a good picture of me at the Trump rally in Wildwood, but they wrote it in the connotation that I was an ultra-conservative, and that because I was an ultra-conservative and influencing other people to become what they call ultra-conservatives, that somehow makes me and the movement that we built in New Jersey a bad thing for the state and a bad thing for the Republican Party, kind of casting the MAGA base, which is now overwhelmingly the majority of New Jersey politics, that gaining with that footing is bad. It's an outlier. They couldn't be any further from the truth. I mean, here's what I say. If being an ultra-conservative means that you stand for open borders, well, then we're ultra-conservatives. If wanting to curb inflation means that you're an ultra-conservative, then we're ultra-conservative. If advocating for gun rights, Second Amendment rights, for children not to be learning LGBTQ and being shown porn in the elementary schools, if that makes you an ultra-conservative, well, then sign us up. So they did it as a hit piece, Roger, but these fake news journalists will never learn that when they write stuff like that, the outpouring of support that actually comes from it, from rational-minded people who go, I want to become a part of this thing because, you know, Donald Trump has exposed how fake the news could be and how much they slant it. So they write it like a bad thing. They put it in a negative connotation. But people are numb to that. They're immune to that. Trump has exposed the bias in the media like no other political figure in our lifetime. So he's exposed that. And the New York Star-Ledger, they thought they were trying to do a gotcha on me, but in reality, they only made us 10 times stronger. And they're helping President Trump's campaign, actually, in New Jersey, by doing it as what they call a hit piece. I call it, good PR.
Well, your name was spelled right, and that's one of the key things. It is kind of funny, though, how you're an ultra-conservative, but Cory Booker, for example, he's not an ultra-liberal. I mean, it's an absurdity. I mean, here's a guy who, as mayor, basically took $700,000 from the city water authority, which he controls, which was paid to his law firm, which then in turn paid the money to him. When he was confronted by the press about this, he said, well, I didn't vote for that, but the minutes of the meeting where he's an ex officio member of the board of the Water Authority shows that he was present and he voted yes. And then the woman who's the head of the Water Authority, she actually went to prison over this. At first, he said it had nothing to do with the Water Authority. That money from his law firm was a buyout. Then he said, no, wait a minute. It was delayed compensation. You know what it was? It was an embezzlement is what it was. But where was the New York Star-Ledger? By the way, I wrote this in a book called Spartacus, an unauthorized biography of Cory Booker. Every word of it, of course, is documented. The president's going to Madison Square Garden. Some have tried to draw negative intonations about that. Yeah, it's true that the 1924 Democrat National Convention, also known as the Klan Bake, had their convention there. It is the Democrat Party, of course, being the party of the Ku Klux Klan. But look, Jimmy Carter had his nomination convention there. Bill Clinton held a rally there. FDR had a rally there. John F. Kennedy had a rally there in 1960. There was a women's rights rally there in 1970. Ronald Reagan visited it for a 1984 campaign rally. Again, John F. Kennedy's famous birthday gala featuring Marilyn Monroe in that very provocative dress, singing breathlessly in that breathy voice, "Happy Birthday, Mr. President." That was right there at Madison Square Garden. Again, Nixon had his final rally there in 1968, shortly before he pulled off the greatest comeback in American political history. So this is going to be very, very, very exciting. I understand the bill includes not just President Trump, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the newly minted Republican Tulsi Gabbard, the former Democrat congresswoman from Hawaii, who is an amazing, amazing woman, an amazing veteran, an amazing American. Mike, this sold out within 3 hours of the president announcing that he would be having a rally. He charges nothing, obviously. Anyone can come. Security will be ultra, ultra, ultra tight, as you might imagine. But it occurs to me that all of this media regarding Madison Square Garden rolls over to North Jersey. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that impact. So, folks, you're listening to the Roger Stone Show. I'm talking to Mike Crispi of Mike Crispi Unafraid, and we'll be right back.
This is the Roger Stone Show.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone, who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now, he's cleaner than anybody in this place. No, they treated him very unfairly.
All of these presidents relied on one man to secure their seat in the Oval Office. That man is Roger Stone.
Roger Stone.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group. Now, here's Roger Stone.
And we're back. We're talking to Mike Crispi. Mike Crispi was a candidate for Congress in New Jersey's 4th Congressional District, one of the most Republican districts, one of the most pro-Trump districts in the country, a 27-plus Trump district after congressional redistricting, Monmouth and Ocean County, which is where Mike's from. And I have a feeling that his first campaign for Congress was not his last campaign for Congress, but he decided in this cycle that it was more important for him to do everything he possibly could to return Donald Trump to the White House. And the truth is, when I analyze it, Mike, you've done rallies, I think, at this point in almost every county in the state. You've been more active than the Republican State Committee or, in some cases, the Trump campaign. And you are really fomenting a grassroots uprising. And there's a lot of people here involved who've never been in politics before, never even paid attention to it. But they're awake now, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you this, you're talking about Madison Square Garden. It was really exciting in the last segment, Roger, just talking about the weight of it. And the amount of people that are coming from New Jersey to Madison Square Garden is staggering. It's unbelievable. I've never seen the enthusiasm in North Jersey to support, a Republican presidential candidate in my life. So this is going to be very exciting. But back to New Jersey and what we're doing. I mean, we've held almost 30 now events for President Trump around the state. I think we're at 26, and then we're holding 2 over this weekend, 2 events this weekend, and then we have about 3 or 4 more scheduled to Election Day. And the goal was to put New Jersey in play. You know, President Trump had a rally with over 100,000 people in Wildwood, and we wanted to capture that excitement and keep the momentum going. So, our group, the America First Republicans in New Jersey, we set out to fulfill the too big to rig message in this state. So we've had these rallies in almost every county. You're right about that. We have a couple more to get to, but we're going to get to them. And we've crisscrossed the entire state. And no matter if we're in the bluest area of Newark where we had a rally or whether we're in, deep red Ocean County, we'll draw 200 to 300 people every single time for President Trump. And we're engaging people on the too big to rig message, which is knowing how to early vote, ballot harvesting, voting by mail, becoming poll watchers, getting people involved in the process that they normally were never involved in. Republicans usually sit at home and wait until Election Day And obviously, we've learned what can happen if you wait until Election Day. They can engage in malfeasance on Election Day. So you got to have it from every single angle. And I really like, obviously, the numbers we're seeing all over the country with early voting. I think the message is resonating. And our message in New Jersey and our mission in New Jersey is to put the state in play for President Trump by making it too big to raid, because we all believe firmly and rightfully that this guy has the values that are in line with the New Jersey voter. South Jersey is bright red, North Jersey and Central Jersey is purple. And then in the urban centers, Newark, Camden, Patterson, Hudson County, adjacent to New York City, these are areas where, obviously Republicans don't win, but President Trump's message is very strong. And obviously we've all seen the way that he polls, in the black community, particularly with black males. So him gaining and making these strides in all these demographics really puts the state in play. And our mission has been, if nobody else will do it in the state, we're going to do it. So we've led almost 30 events. We're going to run through the tape and the finish line and put the state in play for President Trump on election night. And everyone's going to be shocked, but us, we're not going to be shocked because we've been doing the work all year long.
Yeah, I based on everything I've seen, the state clearly is moving within range, which is completely unforeseeable a year ago. But I've watched the margin first by Biden and now by Kamala dwindle. It was once 9, then it's 7, then it's 6, then it's 5, then it's 4, moving very much in the right direction. I mean, New Jersey has changed demographically. It's not the swing state that it once was. I mean, Gerald Ford carried it over Jimmy Carter in 1976. Richard Nixon carried it over Hubert Humphrey in 1968. Reagan, of course, carried it both times. It was a shocker the first time, 1980. But since then, it has really pretty much been beyond reach. It's not beyond reach today. That's what I think the genius of this Madison Square Garden rally is, because not only does he dominate the media in New York, but he dominates the media in North Jersey. He dominates the media in my native state of Connecticut. But he also dominates the media in eastern Pennsylvania, which is a prime swing state. And I think, based on my calculation of the electoral votes, is absolutely crucial for his victory. So it's a genius move. It's a national event. I don't know if you watched that event the other night. I guess it was in Georgia with Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy and Donald Trump. This is the new Liberty League, folks. These are the people that are going to lead us back to prosperity, lead us back to peace, lead us back to a healthy America. It's an exciting political realignment. It's like the one we had in this country in 1932 under Franklin Roosevelt that built a lasting coalition that kept Democrats into the office of the presidency and in Congress for decades. Then Richard Nixon forged a new American majority in 1968. He was in a three-way race, but that underlying coalition later goes on to elect Ronald Reagan twice. It is essentially the same coalition that elected Donald Trump. Mike Crispi, thank you so much for joining us on The Roger Stone Show.
Great honor, Roger. Madison Square Garden is going to be rocking. Can't wait. Always a pleasure.
See you there.